2 of the intermediate color wheel lesson. What I'm going to do first of all here is I'm going to show you a few examples of ones I've made in the past. These can also be seen in my lesson if you click on it. There's one I did over here. Another one with some fish. This one just with a neat design in it. Step 1 of this project, or part 2 of this project, first of all, is you need to go ahead and you need to cut these into a shape. Now this can be done several different ways. What you could do is you can make a tracer first, like I did over here, and you can trace it on one of your pieces here. Now I'm doing mine on the back over here, just because that way I won't have any pencil lines showing. You don't have to do it that way. As a matter of fact, some of you may not want to do it that way, because if you're doing it on the back like I'm doing it here, and you make something like a letter or something like that, it's going to have a mirror image, so it might come out backwards. That's not going to be the case on this one, because on this one here, I folded it in half, and it's symmetrically balanced no matter which side I trace it on. You could even draw something on the back, draw a shape on one of yours if you want. I only did it on one of mine here, because what I can do now is I can fold it just like I did when I gotta refold this here. I can fold back just like I did before when I wanted to make the sections for this. And once I have it all folded up like this, I can go ahead and I can cut along my lines here. And what that's going to give me is it's going to give me 12 shapes. Same shape 12 times. Not 12 shapes, but same shape 12 times. This is one way to do it. Got to hold everything together as you're doing this here. And bear with me for a minute while I cut. Now for some of you, you might not have the strength to cut through all 12 pieces. And that's nothing to be ashamed of or anything. It's just a matter of fact, some people are going to be able to do this, some people are not. And for those of you who are not, I can show you what to do afterwards. It'll take a little bit more time, but you'll get the same result. Important that you hold these pieces together as you're doing it too here. Because don't want anything to come apart. Until my shape is cut out. Then they can come apart. Oh. I probably wasn't up close enough to the camera to see that, for you to see that. But now I am. Just want to hold everything together as you're cutting along here. Until you get it all cut out like I'm doing right here, right now, and snip. And what that's going to give me is it's going to give me 12 of these kind of fancy arrows. That's kind of what I was targeting this as. Guaranteed there's 12 of them and they're all the same. Like this here. Here's a couple that are same. Anyway, then I'm going to throw my scripts out. Make sure when you do that, though, you don't mistake some of your scripts for some of your other pieces. Or some of your shapes, I'm sorry. Don't want to mistake the shapes for the scraps. There should be 12 of them. Okay. Now, for others of you who might not be able to cut through all 12 of them, here's what I would suggest here, is to go ahead and cut these into strips. I would say possibly strips of 4 would do, like I'm doing here. Now, if I cut them into strips of 4 like this, fold them up again, and go ahead and trace my shape on it, I will get the same result that I got by doing it with all 12. Only thing that's different about this is I'm going to have to trace this 3 times. 1 on the back of here. Then I'm going to have to fold my other strip up. Do the same thing again. Go ahead and trace it on one of these. And get my 3rd strip of 4. And do the same thing. I'm not going to make you watch me do it, but just, you're going to do it 3 times. Then keep them folded and cut them. Take your next strip, do the same thing. Keep them folded, cut them, and then do the 3rd one the same way. You'll still get your 12 that way. And that'll work. Another thing you could do also is this. I gotta pause this for a minute while I get a piece of paper. So I'm going to go over here and hit pause. Cool. Now, another way you can do this is you could do it like a snowflake style. What I mean by that is if you're able to cut through all 12 pieces at one time, or all 12 sections at one time, what you can do is you don't necessarily have to draw or trace a shape on here. What you can do is you can just cut out parts of it, like I'm going to do now. Holding it up so you can see this time, because I know the first time around I had my scissors low, so you might not have been able to see me cutting all this. But what I'm doing here is I'm just cutting pieces out. If you're doing it this way, though, you want to make sure that you don't cut it in half. Always make sure you have some pieces around the edge here to keep everything together. I'm just randomly doing this, cutting pieces with no particular plan on how I'm doing it. For those of you who are a little more adventurous, you might want to try this. Otherwise, draw something on or trace, or make a tracer and trace something on. Pull this out. Let's see. Take a big chunk out over here. I'm just kind of using my imagination for this one. I'm even going to cut some out of the inside like this. Okay. And I'm going to unfold it. Only thing about doing it this way is some pieces will keep together here. But the way to remedy that is they're going to be attached right along the fold line. And all I really need to do to remedy this is to just cut along the fold line here. And I'll get 12 of the same. And I'm not going to make you watch me cut all 12 of them, but along the fold lines is where you'll cut them. That's another way to do it. Now it is going to be time to assemble this. And I will show you how to do that right away here. Now, when you're assembling these, there's going to be different ways to do it depending on what you have to work with. Now, with me, I have large black construction paper in classroom, but I know many of you don't. And I'm going to give you advice on how to do this. Everybody can do this step of the project. It's just going to be different for some of you. Now, what I did first of all with my construction paper is I folded it in half like this. And then what I did was, or what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to take a medium-sized paper plate, just something that can fit on here, okay? Doesn't have to be a paper plate necessarily, but something you can trace, something with a circle that you could trace with that's about this size here. And what I did was I folded, the reason why I folded this in half was because I want to try lining this up as even as possible when I trace it on. And I'm going to just trace it lightly with a pencil line smack dab in the middle here, all the way around. Don't have to go really dark with it, just as long as you can see it. Now next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to assemble these and what order to do it and everything. But first of all, I'm going to show you the order that you need to go in on a color chart, wheel chart that I have. Now I'm going to hold this chart up here for a minute because this is how they're going to need to go in the order they are in. The chart is also, I also have a picture of this in my lesson. So if we click on that, you'll see this chart too. This is the chart you're going to need to use as a reference to putting where it needs to go. Now there are 12 shapes here to glue on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do this, how I would do it, and then before you glue anything on, what you first of all want to do is you want to place these pieces so they line up correctly. When you're doing this, I want you to think sort of a clock. Clock has 12 numbers on it, and we have 12 pieces to glue on here. Now, so I'm going to start up here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to 12 o'clock over here. At 12 o'clock is where my yellow piece is going to go. Now, I'm just going to set it on there. Notice I'm not gluing anything. I just got sticky tack on right now. But when you're doing this, you're going to just go ahead and you're going to arrange these pieces first. Now, I'm going to line them up. First pieces I'm going to put on are going to be at 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and then 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. My piece at 6 o'clock that I'm going to put on is my is the violet one, the pure violet one here. That's going, you see how they line up even with each other here. Now at 3 o'clock, you're going to need to find your blue-green piece. The blue-green piece I'm going to put over here at 3 o'clock. Then directly across from there, at 9 o'clock, is where I'm going to put my red-orange. And I'm kind of doing these on the outskirts of the circle too. You can see the circle here. I'm kind of putting them on the outskirts because I'm going to need to fit in 2 pieces over here, 2 pieces over here, 2 pieces over here, and 2 pieces over here. Okay, so now that I got these first 4 in place, at 12 o'clock the yellow, 3 o'clock blue green, violet at 6 o'clock, red orange at 9 o'clock. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in the other pieces here. To do that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have to find my yellow-green piece, which I have right over here. That is going to go at 1 o'clock, right next to the yellow piece. Fit it in over here. And then I'm going to find my green piece. And I'm going to put my green piece in between at 2 o'clock here, between the blue-green piece and the yellow-green piece. So I got primary color yellow. Over here, secondary color green, and my intermediate color here is the yellow-green over at 1 o'clock. So now that I have those in place, I'm going to just move this one a little bit further so it's even. Now I'm going to go to 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock here. At 4 o'clock, I'm going to put next to the blue-green one here, I'm going to put the regular blue one, which is my next primary color. And at 5 o'clock, between the blue primary piece at 4 o'clock and the violet secondary color here at 6 o'clock, I'm going to put my blue violet one here at 5 o'clock. So once again, I have primary color, blue, secondary color, violet, and I got blue violet as my intermediate color. And over here I had primary color blue, secondary color green, and I have blue-green in between them, my intermediate color. Which brings me on now to 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock. At 7 o'clock, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place the red-violet one is going to go here at 7 o'clock. And in between the red-violet one and the red-orange one, I'm at 8 o'clock here is going to be where the red one is going to go. And once again, I have, over here I have, red is my primary color, violet is my secondary color, red, violet, in between them is my intermediate color. 2 more to go here. Right above the red-orange one here, at 9 or at 10 o'clock, I'm going to place my orange one. Then I have my primary color red, secondary color orange, and in between them is my intermediate color, which is red-orange. Last one I'm going to have here, I'm going to place down between my primary color yellow and my secondary color orange. And that, my friends, will be the yellow-orange, which is the intermediate color, and it's going to go over here at 11 o'clock. Now that I have them in place, that's when I'm going to do the gluing. I would advise to use a glue stick on this because it's just a little bit easier to work with. But if all you have is regular white glue, that's fine too. And that is how you do the project. Now, some of you though don't have big paper to glue this on. You can still do the project. Actually, if you look at my examples in my lesson, you'll see on the one that I have the pumpkin plate still in the middle of it on one of my examples. All I did for that one was I actually set my, I set it down on one of my black file cabinets, and I put the pieces around it, and I took a picture. You could do that on a table. Just put on a table or on the floor. Just go ahead, put your pieces that you cut out around something on the table and take a picture of it. And as long as they're in the correct order, that's fine too. Because I know I have to think about what supplies people have and what supplies people don't have. So you could just set them out on a table and that'll work too. All right, this project is going to be due next Monday, October 5th. And for those of you who have not got into me yet, those name tags yet, or name cards, they're late, but I'll still take them. I know you have other work to do, reading, writing, arithmetic, and that might be taking up time where you're not able to get to my projects that quick. Just get it into me. I still will give you credit for it, but I need something to go ahead and to grade. So please get those into me if you haven't yet. Everybody have a wonderful week. I'll see you next week.